Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we have a very special lesson because we're going to be focusing a little bit more on grammar.
That's right. We're going to look today at the difference between past simple and past progressive, or sometimes called past continuous.
Exactly. So we are going to take a look at these two structures, which are a little bit confusing at times, and we're going to be practicing today. But before we get started, why don't we take a look at vocabulary preview?
Vocabulary preview.
Well, this dialogue is all about telling a story in the past, and we're going to hear two words in the dialogue that we need to understand the meaning of. So, the first one, ages.
Ages.
I haven't seen you in ages.
Okay, so if I tell you I haven't seen you in ages.
Basically, you haven't seen me in a really long time.
Okay, so it's a way of exaggerating a little bit.
Yes. And this word ages we can use in many different ways, like, I've been studying English for ages.
Or, for example, I can say, I haven't been to the dentist in ages.
Oh, well, guess you better go, huh?
Right, so ages, a very long time.
Yes. Now, another phrase, to run into somebody.
So, to run into somebody.
I ran into Matt.
Okay, so if you ran into Matt the other day.
You met him unexpectedly.
Okay, so you didn't plan to meet, you didn't have a date.
Right.
You just casually on the street met.
Exactly.
Okay, so I ran into your friend the other day.
Okay, so two good words. We're going to hear both of these in the dialogue. So why don't we get started with dialogue first time?
Mike, what's going on, man? Long time no see.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, I haven't seen you in ages. How's it going?
Things are going great. It's funny running into you like this. Small world, huh? You know, just last week I ran into Matt as well.
Yeah? How's he doing?
He's doing well. We went out for a couple of beers and the funniest thing happened.
Oh, yeah?
Well, we were talking and catching up on what we've been doing. Talking about work and family, when all of a sudden, Matt saw a mouse run under the chair and he completely lost it. He started freaking out and screaming.
Really?
Yeah, and the funniest thing was, then he jumped onto his chair and started shrieking like a girl. You should have been there. Everyone was staring and laughing. It was hilarious.
All right, very good. So a funny story, and as we saw, a lot of stuff in the past, right?
That's right. And we're going to look at that in a moment. But first, we've got lots of exciting language to describe when somebody gets really emotional.
Okay, so why don't we start now with language takeaway?
Language takeaway.
Well, we have four words here. Now, in the dialogue, the guy in the story lost it.
So he saw a mouse and he completely lost it.
To lose it.
Okay, so when you lose it. What are you losing?
You're losing control of yourself and your emotion.
Okay, so you lose your temper maybe.
Yep.
So when I lose it, do I just get angry?
Angry or upset or even sad. But it's usually a negative feeling.
Okay, so it's not a good thing to lose it.
No. So for example, when I showed my boss the sales figures, he completely lost it.
Okay, very good. So that's what lose it means. And now our second word is very similar but has a little bit of a difference.
That's right. He started freaking out.
Okay, so to freak out.
To freak out.
Now, freak out is very similar to lose it, right?
Yeah, but why don't we hear an example now of somebody freaking out?
It's just, no, okay? Forget it, all right? Just forget it. I don't even want to, I just want to forget it. I just want to forget it. I don't know. Okay, calm down. Woo! Calm down. I gotta calm down. I'm so happy. I can't even express it. I'm like, have I even finished one sentence? I'm like, woo! Give me a high five, baby.
All right, so we heard this person freaking out, and basically it could be losing control or losing your temper, but also in a positive way.
Right. So maybe you're really excited about something that's going to happen, so you're freaking out.
Okay, maybe you're very nervous or you're very excited. All right, and now moving on to our third word, stare.
To stare.
People started to stare.
Staring.
Okay, now when you stare at someone or at something.
You look at and focus at something for a really long time.
Okay, so you are looking at it,
Yeah.
focusing on it.
Yeah, longer than usual.
All right, maybe when we were small, our parents taught us that it's not nice to stare at
Yeah.
other people.
Exactly.
All right, so to stare.
And our final word, when Matt saw the mouse, he started shrieking.
All right, so to shriek.
Shriek.
Shriek. Very similar to that movie Shrek.
Oh, yeah, it sounds quite similar.
All right, but it's different. What does shriek mean?
Well, why don't we listen to an example?
Oh my god! ¡Wale chingada!
Okay, so I think shrieking is to shout in a very high-pitched voice.
Exactly, that's to shriek. Okay, so we saw 4 really great words in language takeaway, and why don't we listen now to the dialogue for a second time, a little bit slower, and then we'll come back and look at the differences between simple past and past progressive.
Mike, what's going on, man? Long time no see.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, I haven't seen you in ages. How's it going?
Things are going great. It's funny running into you like this. Small world, eh? You know, just last week I ran into Matt as well.
Yeah? How's he doing?
He's doing well. We went out for a couple of beers and the funniest thing happened.
Oh, yeah?
Well, we were talking and catching up on what we've been doing, talking about work and family, when all of a sudden, Matt saw a mouse run under his chair and he completely lost it. He started freaking out and screaming.
Really?
Yeah, and the funniest thing was, then he jumped on his chair and started shrieking like a girl. You should have been there. Everyone was staring and laughing. It was hilarious.
Okay, so there was a lot of different uses of past tense here in this dialogue, wasn't there?
Yeah, since he was telling a story that happened, he used the past a lot.
Well, let's now, as promised, look at past simple and past progressive in grammar breakdown.
Grammar breakdown.
Okay, Marco, before we start our discussion, why don't we hear one example of past simple and one example of past progressive?
You know, just last week I ran into Matt as well. Well, we were talking and catching up on what we've been doing.
Okay, so we heard that just last week I ran into Matt. So we discussed what run into means.
Yep, to meet someone by surprise.
All right. And now this structure is the simple past, right?
Yep.
Now the second example that we heard was we were talking and catching up.
Okay, so let's look at the difference in meaning here. I ran into Matt. Happened in the past, right?
Right? Simple past.
But one moment in the past.
So the action finished, concluded.
Started and finished all around the same time. So it's one simple moment.
Okay. Now the other example is in the past progressive. So the action was happening for a longer period of time.
Yeah. Okay. So let's attach some times to this. Maybe you ran into Matt at 8:04. Okay? And so the action started at 8:04. But you were talking and catching up from 8:05 until 9:05.
Okay, so you were talking for an hour.
Right. So it's the past progressive you use when the action is happening for a longer period of time.
Okay, so to better understand this, let's have another example.
Matt saw a mouse run under his chair and he completely lost it. Everyone was staring and laughing.
So as we heard in the example, he saw a mouse run under his chair.
So a quick action that started and finished quickly.
Okay, he saw the mouse and it ran under the chair.
Yep.
Now, the second example we heard was everyone was staring and laughing.
So maybe this happened over 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, so people were looking at him and laughing and talking about how he was screaming like a girl.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the main difference between the simple past and the past progressive, the amount of time that the action happened.
Yep. All right, well, now that we understand a little bit more about the past tense, why don't we hear it again in context by listening to the dialogue for a third time?
Mike, what's going on, man? Long time no see.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, I haven't seen you in ages. How's it going?
Things are going great. It's funny running into you like this. Small world, huh? You know, just last week I ran into Matt as well.
Yeah? How's he doing?
He's doing well. We went out for a couple of beers and the funniest thing happened.
Oh, yeah?
Well, we were talking and catching up on what we've been doing. Talking about work and family, when all of a sudden, Matt saw a mouse run under the chair and he completely lost it. He started freaking out and screaming.
Really?
Yeah, and the funniest thing was, then he jumped onto his chair and started shrieking like a girl. You should have been there. Everyone was staring and laughing. It was hilarious.
Okay, perfect. So now that we understand the words and the grammar behind it, there are some interesting phrases here that you can use casually with your friends.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of great sort of meeting and greeting and saying hello language.
So for example, when they met up, since they were old friends, he said, "Hey, Pat."
Hey.
Okay, so this word "hey,"
It's kind of like hi.
it's hi, right?
Yep.
And normally you would use it to get somebody's attention, right? Like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm over here." or
Hey,
something.
waiter.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in this case, like, "Hey, how's it going?" or "Hi."
Yeah, so it's a really friendly and informal way of saying hi.
Okay. And then he asked, "How's it going?"
How's it going?
So again, this is a way of saying, "How are you?"
Yeah, Marco, what's the correct answer to this greeting?
Well, for example, he said things are going great, right? You can say, "Yeah, things are great," or "I'm doing well,"
Yeah.
or
Even great, you know?
Great, yeah.
So how's it going?
"Oh, it's great."
Yeah.
Right? Now, another one that we didn't see in the dialogue, but it's very popular, is when somebody asks, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, what's up? So again, what is the right way to answer this question?
All right. So when somebody says, "What's up?" you can say, "Well, not much." Or if maybe you have news or something that you want to share, you would say, "Well, I just got back from the doctor's office."
Yep.
Right? But you wouldn't say "fine, thank you," or you wouldn't say "very good," or any of these other common answers to "what's up."
That's
it can
right.
be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, so the rule is the normal thing to say when someone says, "Hey, what's up?" is nothing much.
Not much.
Yep.
All right. So interesting ways of greeting casually with people, right? You wouldn't use this with your boss maybe, or in an office setting.
Yep, more useful with your friends.
Okay.
The past tense plays an essential and fundamental role in narrative storytelling, particularly when constructing timelines, conveying plot details, and immersing readers in a coherent sequence of events. A story can only unfold meaningfully when the temporal flow is clearly established, and this is precisely where the past tense comes into play. In narrative writing, the past tense offers a framework for organizing events and guiding the reader through the story's progression. 1. One introduction to the past tense in storytelling. In storytelling, the past tense provides a stable foundation for both the storyteller and the audience. It is the most commonly used tense in narrative writing because it brings clarity to the sequence of events. When recounting a story, the use of the past tense places the event squarely in a completed, retrospective context. This sets the stage for a structured narrative where each event follows the one that came before, giving the story direction and form. One of the key purposes of using the past tense in storytelling is its ability to create a sense of finality. It communicates to the reader that the events have already occurred and that the story is an account of these past happenings. Without this temporal distance, it would be difficult to build a story's progression and narrative tension. The use of past tense helps the reader to feel the completion of the events, making it easier to reflect upon their emotional resonance and significance. 1. 2. The simple past tense, establishing the sequence of events. The simple past tense is the most direct and straightforward way to convey completed actions and events in storytelling. It helps to organize and narrate events in a clear, chronological order, allowing the reader to easily follow the unfolding of the plot. The sequence of events is a fundamental aspect of storytelling, and the simple past tense serves as the primary tool for articulating this sequence. For example, in the sentence, "She walked into the room and sat down," the past tense words "walked" and "sat" tell the reader precisely when these actions occurred, in the past, one after the other. This simplicity allows the reader to understand the event as a unit that has already taken place, giving the story a sense of completion. The simplicity of the past tense creates a rhythm in the narrative that helps establish clarity, flow, and ease of understanding. The past tense is also instrumental in marking key transitions in a story. It signals the shift from one event to another, helping the reader track the passage of time in the narrative. For example, John opened the door. He saw her standing there. He couldn't believe his eyes. The use of the simple past tense creates a smooth transition between actions, making it easy to follow the unfolding narrative. Each action is clearly separated but connected by the natural flow of time, reinforcing the overall progression of the story. In addition to its chronological function, the simple past tense also allows the writer to establish cause and effect. For instance, she missed the bus because she woke up late. In this example, the use of the past tense indicates that both actions, the waking up late and missing the bus, have already happened, allowing the reader to understand the cause and its immediate effect. This connection between actions drives the plot forward and maintains the narrative's coherence. 1. 3. Enhancing story readability through the past tense. A well-crafted story not only presents events, but also makes those events compelling to the reader. The past tense plays a critical role in enhancing the readability of a story. It allows the writer to establish a tone and set the emotional rhythm of the narrative, which can significantly impact how the audience connects with the story. In practical terms, the past tense helps to engage readers by providing a sense of familiarity. Stories told in the past tense feel like recollections, making them relatable and grounded. This temporality encourages readers to feel as though they are hearing about something that has happened, rather than experiencing an event in real time. The past tense creates a reflective space for the reader to absorb and process the story's meaning. For instance, in a mystery or thriller, the use of the past tense can build suspense by gradually revealing details about the plot. Consider the following. He had always been cautious, but that night something felt different. He could hear the faint sound of footsteps behind him. Slowly, he turned around. In this example, the use of the past tense not only presents the events in sequence, but also creates tension. The reader is aware that the actions are part of a story that has already taken place, and this creates an opportunity for reflection. The tension builds as the narrative develops, with the past tense serving as a reminder that the story is unfolding according to a fixed timeline. Moreover, the past tense allows for strategic use of reflection and hindsight. When characters in a story reflect on past actions or mistakes, the use of the past tense underscores the distance between the event and the character's current understanding. It's an effective way of showing how individuals or society have changed over time, which can deepen the reader's emotional engagement with the narrative. Take, for example, this reflective passage. I had made a terrible mistake, but I hadn't realized it at the time. Looking back, I could see all the signs, but I was too blind to see them. Here, the past tense conveys both the sequence of events and the reflective nature of the character's thoughts. The past tense sets the tone for introspection and personal growth, allowing the reader to understand not just what happened, but how it impacted the character's development. The use of the past tense in storytelling is crucial for establishing a clear and coherent narrative. It allows for the construction of a timeline that keeps the events organized and easy to follow. Whether it is through the simple past tense, which lays out a linear sequence of events, or the past progressive tense, which adds nuance and depth to ongoing actions, the past tense serves as the backbone of storytelling. In the next section, we will explore how the past progressive tense can be used to enrich a narrative by providing additional layers of detail and emotional depth, further enhancing the overall storytelling experience. The past progressive tense, also called the past continuous tense, adds a layer of richness to storytelling by allowing the writer to describe actions that were ongoing in the past. This tense is particularly useful when the writer wants to emphasize the duration or the continuous nature of an action or state. While the simple past tense provides a clear and concise view of discrete events, the past progressive tense helps to portray the context in which those events occurred, thus contributing to the depth and complexity of the narrative. 2. One depicting ongoing actions and background situations. The past progressive tense is ideal for describing actions that were in progress at a specific point in the past. It conveys the sense that something was happening, often with an emphasis on its duration, or that it was interrupted by another action. This tense serves as a window into the unfolding process of an event, allowing the reader to experience a moment in time as though it were ongoing, rather than completed. For example, I was walking through the park when I saw him. In this example, the use of the past progressive, was walking, indicates that the walking action was happening at the same time as the second event, saw him. It is not just a simple sequence of actions. The past progressive gives a sense of movement and continuity, making the scene feel more alive and immersive. Similarly, in a more descriptive scene, the past progressive can provide rich context. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the city, while the sounds of the bustling streets filled the air. Here, the past progressive tense was setting, was casting, conveys the sense of an ongoing, dynamic environment. The use of the past progressive adds vibrancy to the scene, making it feel as though the reader is in the midst of the action, witnessing it as it happens. The background situation described through the past progressive creates a more immersive experience for the reader, painting a vivid picture of the world in which the characters operate. 2. Adding dynamism and energy to the narrative. By utilizing the past progressive, writers can infuse their stories with a sense of dynamism and energy. The continuous nature of the actions being described adds movement and action to the scene, making it feel more engaging and immediate. This is especially effective in action scenes, where you want to convey the urgency and ongoing nature of the events. For example, he was running through the alley, dodging the rain, his heart pounding with every step. In this case, the use of was running creates a sense of immediate action. The reader is not simply told that he ran, they are made to feel as though they are right there, moving with the character. The use of the past progressive emphasizes the physical effort and urgency of the moment. The energy in the sentence is derived from the ongoing nature of the action, which makes the scene more exciting and intense. Similarly, in more reflective or emotional moments, the past progressive can be used to show the emotional buildup or a state of mind that is in flux. She was waiting for the call, her fingers tapping nervously on the desk. Here, the past progressive tense conveys a sense of suspense and anticipation. The ongoing action of waiting, combined with the nervousness implied by the tapping fingers, builds tension in the narrative. The reader can almost feel the character's anxiety and impatience, enhancing the emotional engagement with the scene. 2. Combining simple and progressive past tenses for layered storytelling. A skilled storyteller often alternates between the simple past tense and the past progressive tense to create a narrative that is both structured and rich in detail. The simple past tense is used to move the story forward, while the past progressive adds nuances that give the story more dimension. The combination of these tenses can bring depth to the narrative, showing not just what happens, but how and when things unfold. For instance, I was having dinner when the phone rang. I answered it quickly, and her voice broke through the silence. In this example, the simple past, rang, answered, moves the story forward by indicating the sequence of events, while the past progressive, was having, creates a moment of pause and context. The past progressive highlights the interrupted action of the character eating dinner, allowing the reader to experience the disruption of the phone call as something that was happening in real time. The switch between the simple past and past progressive creates a sense of rhythm in the story. The simple past provides the backbone of the plot, while the past progressive fills in the emotional and atmospheric details, giving the reader a deeper understanding of the moment. A more complex example might look like this. He was walking along the beach, his thoughts drifting between the past and the future. As he reached the end of the pier, he stopped, staring out at the horizon. The ocean waves were crashing loudly, as if to pull him back into the present. Here, the past progressive was walking, were crashing, emphasizes the continuous nature of the action and the setting, grounding the character in the physical environment. Meanwhile, the simple past stopped, staring, moves the action forward. The alternation between these tenses allows the writer to convey not just the character's movement through time and space, but also the emotional journey that is taking place in the moment. 2. For creating atmosphere with the past progressive. In addition to adding dynamism, the past progressive tense can also enhance the atmosphere of a scene. By highlighting the ongoing nature of an action, the writer can create a sense of tension, calm, or movement, depending on the tone of the narrative. The past progressive can indicate the persistence of an action or emotion, contributing to the overall mood of the story. Consider this example. They were waiting in the dark, the only sound being the wind howling through the trees. In this case, the use of the past progressive, were waiting, emphasizes the ongoing, slow-moving tension in the scene. The character is not just waiting, they are enduring the passage of time, amplifying the sense of suspense. The sound of the wind and the eerie stillness heighten the mood, making the reader feel the weight of the moment. The past progressive can also be used to underscore the relentless nature of an experience. For example, he was working late into the night, his mind racing with thoughts he couldn't control. The continuous action of was working conveys the exhausting, ongoing nature of the character's struggle. It reflects not just physical action, but also the mental state that accompanies it, deepening the emotional impact of the scene. The past progressive tense is a powerful tool in the hands of a skilled writer, allowing them to create vivid, engaging narratives that draw the reader in. By depicting ongoing actions, providing context, and enhancing the emotional impact of a scene, the past progressive adds complexity and depth to storytelling. In the next section, we will explore how the past tense, in both its simple and progressive forms, can be used to convey emotions and psychological states, further enhancing the richness of narrative storytelling. The past tense not only serves as a tool to recount events and actions, but it also plays a crucial role in depicting characters' emotions, thoughts, and psychological states. By using the past tense, writers can provide a deeper layer of emotional insight, allowing readers to connect more intimately with the characters and their experiences. This section will delve into how past tenses, both simple and progressive, can be used to communicate emotions, highlight psychological transformations, and influence the overall atmosphere of the narrative. 3. One depicting emotional shifts and psychological transitions. The past tense is particularly effective in conveying how a character's emotions evolve throughout the course of a story. Emotions and psychological states are rarely static. They shift, develop, and sometimes even reverse, and the past tense offers a means to track these transformations. For example, when describing a character's nervousness. He was worried about the meeting, his hands trembling as he waited for the email response. The past progressive tense, was worried, was trembling, creates a sense of continuity in the character's emotional state. The reader can feel the anxiety as an ongoing, persistent experience, deepening the tension in the narrative. The use of the past tense here allows the writer to anchor the emotional response in a moment in time, establishing a connection between the character's inner world and their actions. Similarly, emotional transitions, such as moving from anxiety to relief or despair to hope, are often well expressed through shifts in tense. Consider the following example. She was feeling hopeless at first, unsure of what the future held. But as the days passed, she became more optimistic, finding solace in the small joys of life. In this case, the past progressive was feeling, captures the ongoing, overwhelming nature of the character's initial despair. The shift to the simple past, became, found, signals a change in emotional direction, indicating a movement toward hope. This use of tense helps to chart the character's psychological journey, offering a clear sense of progression. 3. 2. Describing specific emotional states with a past tense. The past tense is effective in evoking a specific emotional state or response by highlighting particular moments of emotional intensity. It allows writers to convey moments when emotions overwhelm a character, shaping their actions and decisions. The subtle interplay between the past simple and past progressive tenses can highlight how a character's emotional state develops or shifts over time. For example, describing fear. He was terrified when he heard the footsteps behind him. His heart raced as he hurried down the darkened alley. The past progressive was terrified, was racing, amplifies the intensity of the emotion. It emphasizes that the fear is not just an event, but a powerful, ongoing feeling that drives the character's actions. The use of past simple, hurried, punctuates the urgency and impact of that emotion, giving the scene a sense of immediacy. Another example is when depicting a sense of excitement. She was excited as she stepped onto the stage, her heart beating faster with every step she took toward the microphone. Here, the use of the past progressive, was excited, was beating, allows the reader to feel the anticipation and growing energy in the character's emotions. The progression of the sentence mirrors her mounting excitement, drawing the reader into her experience. The use of simple past for stepped further highlights key actions that occur within this heightened emotional state. 3. The role of the past tense in building suspense and tension. The past tense, particularly the past progressive, is also a key tool in creating suspense and maintaining tension in the narrative. By portraying actions and emotions as ongoing, the writer can effectively withhold information, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty or unease. The tension builds as events unfold, and the reader is drawn into the story through the pacing created by the past tense. For instance, in suspenseful scenarios, the past progressive tense can slow down the action and focus on specific details. He was walking cautiously through the dark hallway, each creak of the floorboards echoing in the silence. The past progressive was walking, conveys a lingering, deliberate action that adds to the sense of suspense. The use of creak further amplifies the tension, allowing the reader to sense the character's nervous anticipation. This technique is particularly effective in crime or thriller genres, where the past progressive can make seemingly mundane actions seem fraught with danger. By maintaining this lingering sense of movement or emotion, writers can increase the reader's sense of urgency, making each action feel more significant. 3. For using past tense to convey the complexity of relationships. The past tense can also be used to reveal complex dynamics between characters, especially when it comes to emotional relationships. Whether the relationship is one of love, conflict, or reconciliation, the use of past tense allows for reflection and introspection, giving characters the opportunity to understand and express their feelings. For example, when exploring a character's regret, she had always loved him, but she regretted not telling him sooner. The time they had lost haunted her every day. The use of the past perfect had always loved, had lost, suggests that these emotions are now in the past, but their impact remains. The past simple, regretted, haunted, brings the focus to the current reflection of these emotions, showing how the character is still dealing with the consequences of their actions. This mixture of tenses provides a nuanced look into the emotional landscape of the character, making the reflection more profound and compelling. The reader is invited to experience not just the present emotions of the character, but also the depth of their past feelings, creating a more layered understanding of the character's inner life. 3. Impact of the past tense on creating emotional distance. Sometimes, writers use the past tense to create a sense of emotional distance between the character and the events being described. This can be especially effective when depicting trauma, loss, or grief. The use of past tenses allows the character to reflect on painful memories without being consumed by them, offering a subtle way to explore these themes. For example, he had lost his father years ago, but the grief still lingered in his thoughts. He had never quite found a way to move on. The past perfect tense, had lost, had never found, allows the narrator to communicate a sense of emotional distance. The emotional impact of the loss is not immediate or raw, but it still exists, lingering in the background of the character's consciousness. This use of the past tense helps the reader understand the character's long-term struggle with grief, while also conveying a sense of reflection and introspection. The past tense, when skillfully applied to the portrayal of emotions and psychological states, offers writers a powerful tool for adding depth, nuance, and richness to their storytelling. By using the past tense to convey shifts in emotional states, develop character relationships, build suspense, and create emotional distance, writers can craft more compelling, emotionally resonant narratives. Whether it's the ongoing nature of a character's fear, the complexity of a relationship, or the lingering impact of past events, the past tense helps to shape the reader's experience, drawing them into the emotional journey of the story. As we've seen throughout this article, the past tense is not just a tool for recounting events, but a vehicle for conveying the intricate workings of the human heart and mind, enhancing the emotional resonance of a story.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
A greeting phrase.
How are you?
An informal way of calling a person.
Man. Long time no see.
For a long time.
In ages.
A phrase you use to respond to a greeting.
I am doing great.
Meeting someone accidentally.
Run into.
Learn about recent past events.
Catch up on.
Show a lot of emotion but not be able to control emotions.
Freak out.
Screaming in a very high voice.
Shriek.
Look at something for a long time with great attention.
Stare.
Very amusing.
Hilarious.
Lose control of your emotions. Show strong negative emotions.
Lose it.
Go crazy. Lose control of yourself.
Go nuts.
A very fun time or a funny event.
A riot.
Very silly or unreasonable.
Ridiculous.
Very strange or unusual.
Bizarre.
A short, amusing story.
Anecdote. Let's try that faster.
Learn about recent past events.
Catch up on.
Look at something for a long time with great attention.
Stare.
Very silly or unreasonable.
Ridiculous.
Meeting someone accidentally.
Run into.
A short, amusing story.
Anecdote.
A phrase you use to respond to a greeting.
I am doing great.
A greeting phrase.
How are you?
An informal way of calling a person.
Man.
A very fun time or a funny event.
A riot.
Show a lot of emotion but not be able to control emotions.
Freak out.
Screaming in a very high voice.
Shriek.
Very strange or unusual.
Bizarre.
Lose control of your emotions. Show strong negative emotions.
Lose it.
For a long time.
In ages.
Very amusing.
Hilarious. Long time no see.
Go crazy. Lose control of yourself.
Go nuts. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. I've been waiting here for ages. It's been ages since I saw you. I lived in France ages ago. Lose it. When I told my boss that I would be late, he totally lost it. Lose it. If you do that one more time, I'm going to lose it. Lose it. I found out that the flight was canceled and I started crying. I completely lost it. Freak out. Oh my gosh, I'm going to meet Justin Timberlake. I'm totally freaking out. Freak out. Why did you freak out when I told you I'd be late for dinner? Freak out. Don't freak out. We can solve this problem in 5 minutes. Run into. I have not seen Sally for 5 years. Then I ran into her at the park. Run into. I'm sure we'll run into each other next week. Run into. If you run into Tom, don't tell him that you know me. Stare. I know that dog has 3 legs, but stop staring at him. Stare. The painting is so beautiful. I could stare at it for hours. Stare. He stared into my eyes and then told me he loves me.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found this episode both insightful and enjoyable. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any great episodes. See you next time.